The difference between boyfriend treatment and husband treatment. Think about it like a membership. Let's talk about the perks. Hello, my name is Carla, and restoring healthy mindsets is my thing. Dating is silver, boyfriend and girlfriend is gold, and marriage is premium. That's how you need to think about it. So while you hold the silver membership, get a little taste to get you hooked to the gold membership. This is when you give him some of your time, let him know that you're in the market and that you're open to meeting people. He really has to convince you to purchase the gold membership. Once you're in the gold membership, there's more perks. Now you're able to hold hands, you're able to kiss, get a little bit more intimate, and of course, there's a little bit of more commitment that requires more energy and more investment.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
Alright, that's an interesting proposal, but since we're talking membership status, allow me to introduce mine. The planetary membership is where I pretend to feign interest as you prattle on about your failing LLC and refrain from making commentary about the bacteria convention you have growing behind those inhuman fingernails. But you'll have to pay for half of all incidentals, and transportation is your own problem. The Galactic package is probably of the most value. It's where I drive you around and buy you a moderately priced dinner once every 6 months, but it also includes me doing a load of laundry beforehand and wearing a shirt that has the bare minimum amount of wrinkles. And transportation will be provided, however, you will still be required to contribute for the ride. As the saying goes, cash, gas, or ass, nobody rides for free. Finally, we got the Interstellar package. I will allow you to pay half of my rent in exchange for being able to crash at my place a few times a week. Cleaning will still be your own problem because I'm too busy not caring about your membership perks.
This is when you're really testing it out. But that doesn't mean he has platinum perks yet because he hasn't earned it. You save all the other perks for the platinum membership. So what are some perks that you can find in the platinum membership? Let me tell you. Cooking, attending, serving, intimacy. Because he's reached the highest of the high membership. He has won your heart and has all these standards met. So now he gets full access to you. I need you to start thinking about dating, boyfriend and girlfriend, and marriage that same way. Think about it like a Disney Magic Key Pass or something like that. You don't need to give all of yourself when you're dating.
I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying?
I hope you don't mind, sweetheart, but I took a second to peruse your contracts, and according to the Platinum Membership Agreement, you withhold the right to cut off any and all membership perks at any time for any reason. This includes cooking, cleaning, denial of intimacy, and withholding of basic peace. It also gives you the legal right to break that contract whenever you feel like it and be legally entitled to minimum of half of the man's income and assets while making his life completely miserable in the process. And this is exactly why you shouldn't view this as a membership process. There's nothing wrong with treating a person like a human being and just progressing through a relationship naturally. You shouldn't be viewing him as someone who can buy you. If a man can buy you in exchange for your services, that doesn't make you desirable on the dating market. Makes you a woman who's trying to exploit a man for his resources while providing less than the bare minimum in return. So I'm gonna give you a hard pass on your membership. If I want to waste my money, I'll just buy yet another streaming service that I barely use.
That's what I'm talking about!
Let's talk about why you're pretty but never get asked out. The first reason why is a lot of boys are scared of rejection. They might seem confident, but they are actually really terrified of it. That's why a lot of guys go for the 7 or 8s, not the 9s and 10s. Reason number 2 is you look too intimidating, so you gotta let your guard down, show your softer side. A way you can do this is to watch your resting face. Personally, I've seen a video of what my face looks like when I'm out, and it's terrifying. I look like a resting.
Give me cancer now, guy! Hey woman, it's kinda hard to take you seriously as you cake on an unhealthy amount of war paint on that face of yours. It doesn't make you look intimidating. It makes you look like a pain in the ass. Now, self-respecting men do want to be with an attractive woman, but that is a subjective thing. What's a 5 or a 6 to one man may be a 9 or even a 10 to another. It's just one factor in a complicated equation. A woman can be completely average in the looks department, but if she's friendly and feminine, that goes a long way to making her more desirable than a hot woman. Now, if you're constantly carrying the facial expression of a resting female dog, then that's a reflection of your personality. The face expresses way more than you think. The human mind can detect legitimate smiles over fake ones fairly well, especially for modern women whose sole personality trait is pure misery. So men tend to stay away from the miserable broads with a narcissistic view of their own beauty because it's just not worth the headache.
Number 3 is you always have headphones in. You're at the gym with headphones in. You're walking around with headphones in. People aren't going to come up to you because they think you're busy. So next time you're going on your little hot girl walk, maybe ditch the headphones. Last tip, you don't make eye contact. Guys look for girls who can hold their gaze because not being able to do so looks like you're uninterested. So work on that gaze.
Great plan.
Thank you.
He likes your plan, Chief.
I hate to break it to you, sister, but if you're out and wearing headphones, then that's actually a telltale sign for us that you're not very smart. Wearing headphones at the gym, the coffee shop, or the library is one thing, but if you're out in public doing one of those hot girl walks while wearing headphones, it shows that you have zero sense of the world around you and even less regard for your own personal safety. Which is weird because when you're not wearing the headphones and a man does approach you, if he doesn't meet the impossible standards, then you immediately feel unsafe and just assume that he's a violent creeper, which goes double if an average man is making eye contact with you. You need to face the facts, woman. It is impossible for you to become desirable because there's nothing worth desiring. You're an empty shell of a human being who's devoid of any personality, you're incapable of feeling, and you're full of a sense of self-worth that is so radioactive, it sets off every single Geiger counter within a 100-mile radius.
It's science.
Casual sex is the same thing as fast food. It's cheap, it's readily available, it's fill, especially when you're drunk. You're like, you know what? I could definitely go for some McDonald's right now. I had it a few weeks ago and I remember it being great. Then you get it and you're just like, this definitely looked better in the picture. And I remember this being a lot more satisfying last time. The next morning you wake up and there's just wrappers all over your bed and you're like, I need to throw these out immediately. Your whole apartment stinks like a fryer. You're like, it's not clean. I need to Febreze away the sin.
Ew. What a mess. Ew. Ew. Ew.
Hey, I gotta give credit where credit's due here. This broad has a good point, and it's a fairly apt metaphor. Much like how fast food is only considered food thanks to a series of technicalities, hookup culture barely constitutes as human interaction thanks to the same reasons. It fills a void in the unhealthiest way imaginable, even if, you got wrappers strewn about the place, and it leaves you feeling queasy afterwards. But here's the thing, if you abstain from fast food for an extended period of time, the next time you have it, it's kind of gross and an empty experience. It's cold, disappointing, overpriced, and underwhelming. And it's the kind of thing that just makes you want something better, and then you spend more time actively avoiding it because the experience was so terrible and it's one that isn't worth reliving. And sometimes it'll even get to the point where you wonder why you even consumed that garbage in the first place. It can be a profound experience, but in your case, you keep going back for more because you need that temporary pleasure release, regardless of what it does to your health and your brains.
And you're just left sitting there like, damn, my body feels weird. Definitely can't have that every day. That would not be healthy for me. Like once in a while, everybody around you is like, sick, you treated yourself to some McDonald's last night. But then if you do it too much or do it past a certain age, people are like, you're still doing that every day, really? Okay, that's cool. So anyways, I'm on my way to McDonald's right now.
Ew.
I find it kind of unnerving that this woman could either be referring to getting some fast food or hooking up for some boudoir antics. Either way, I think it's kind of sad. Fast food and hookup culture were designed to put the pleasure centers of the human brain into overdrive. It takes over your senses and leaves you craving more, especially after consuming all sorts of mind-altering substances like alcohol. It's just as bad for you as cigarettes. And just like fast food is horrid for your body, hookups are terrible for not only your body, but for your mind as well. And every time you do it, it just makes things worse and worse. And it comes to the point where all you live for is that momentary fix of pleasure that will quickly fleet to the point where you're jonesing for another fix because you feel nothing but emptiness and pain without it. That's why I'm personally against the concept of hookup culture myself, but everybody's different, and if that's how you want to treat your guts, then more power to you, sister. I personally couldn't care less.
Good luck.
Next time you go on a date, you have to ask the guy this question.
So I have a theory that if a man has a really strong reaction to this question, it's a sign that he doesn't like things that he can't control, which can be a red flag, because if he's a control freak and likes to control every single thing and doesn't like things that are unpredictable or can be a little bit of like... So the question is really simple, but it has a meaning, I promise. You're gonna ask him how he feels about cats.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
Cats? Well, I personally think cats are descendants of extraterrestrial beings who successfully conquered Earth thousands of years ago. Now hear me out. These cats traveled across the cosmos in search of a planet to colonize. They landed on Earth thanks to all of the places that were sunny, sandy, and full of animals that they could bend to their will. They land in ancient Egypt, where they are immediately worshipped as gods. They take one look at each other and assume that their mission is accomplished without any blood having to be shed. So then they colonized all four corners of the earth, flaunting a personality that can only be described as holier than thou, and they are relentless to their enemies. So naturally, I respect our alien invaders that keep the rat population down, and I for one am thankful that they haven't enslaved me and sent me to their intergalactic space litter box with a shovel to clean their leavings for the rest of eternity. I still won't worship them though. I saved that gesture for the pine fresh taxicab ride to the eternal luncheon of the intergalactic space god Yoglafard. All hail!
And you don't even have to tell him like that you have a cat or anything. Just be like, oh, are you more of a dog person or a cat person? Like, how do you feel about cats? Now, if he has like a pretty neutral stance and he's like, oh, I mean, cats are okay. Or obviously if he's like, oh my gosh, I love cats, I have a cat, whatever, he passed the test. But if a guy has a really strong, like, disgusting reaction towards cats, and he's like, oh my god, cats are crazy, like I can't stand them, they're mean.
That does not make sense.
I'm probably gonna catch a lot more flack than I deserve on this take, but some cats are just jerks, woman, and some of them can be downright sadistic. Have you ever seen a cat play with a mouse it caught? I'm telling you, sister, it can be kind of an unsettling sight. But what else can you expect from an animal that has reflexes faster than a snake? You can't just assume a guy is a control freak because he doesn't like cats. He legitimately could have had some bad experiences with cats in the past. That doesn't make it an insight into his soul or his personal living habits. It just means that he has a personal preference when it comes to animals. But it seems to me like you're unable to imagine a life without a cat. After all, it makes sense. You embody all of the worst personality traits a cat has to offer. You're vain, have a massive ego, and you can't stand it when you don't smell a particular way. The only difference is that you don't have a mystical sense of balance, and your hunting skills are most likely less than subpar.
You know, like, we've all talked to somebody who has like a really strong negative reaction about cats for whatever reason. And I swear this means that those people, or like that person, doesn't like things that are unpredictable and that they can't control. Because dogs are pretty easy to train, but cats are a whole other story.
Are you sure?
I might be wrong on this one, but in my experience, cats don't really need a whole lot of training. So long as you feed them regularly and make sure they use the litter box, then there's nothing really unpredictable about them. In fact, they'll let you know what they want when they want it. And when they don't want anything, they go and take care of themselves when they want to be left alone. Dogs, on the other hand, can be fairly chaotic and they take a lot of work to train. If anything, when a man puts a bunch of training into a dog, it doesn't make him a control freak. In fact, it shows that he's loyal, hardworking, and willing to put the time and effort it takes into training a dog because he loves that little mutt. And even when that dog is fully trained, it can still create moments of chaos, which he is willing to deal with because he's a man. He can make order out of chaos fairly easily. That's why your question means absolutely nothing, except that you're just intentionally looking for red flags, because it seems to me like you can't imagine living in a world that might interfere with your cats. After all, at the end of the day, they're all you're going to have left in this world. And that is going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of humor is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Keep on shining bright like some crazy-ass diamonds in the night, gentlemen and gents. And until next time, peace out, homies.